Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to talk a bit on language shift. What does language shift mean in sociolinguistics and linguistics? So in this video we are going to cover 4 different topics related to language shift. The first one is language shift definitions, examples of language shift, types of language shift, and at the last we have factors of language shift. So let's get started. Language shift is the process whereby members of a community in which more than one language is spoken abandon their original vernacular language in favor of another language, and it is the process through which one language is replaced by another when a community does not maintain their language but gradually adopts another language. By this way their native language will shift to another language. So that's called language shift. Language shift is also known as language transfer, language replacement, and language assimilation. And it is the process whereby a speech community shifts to a different language. That can be any language, that can be English, that can be French, usually over an extended period of time. Often languages that are perceived to be higher status stabilize or spread at the expense of their languages that are perceived by their own speakers to be lower status. So language shift, best example is that language shift from Gaelic to Latin during the time of the Roman Empire. That's the best example of language shift. What are the types of language shift? Language shift, the first type is colonization of the land. It refers to political and economic dominance of a population by another often through the use of military country. For example, British colonization in Asia, French colonization in Africa. So they gradually transferred their language to another, means those dominant people whom they were ruling, they adopted their language. Still their roots are present. And the second type, that is linguicism. It is also called glottophobia, and languagism is discriminating individually differently based on language they speak. So here linguicism, the main point, that is discrimination of language. For example, an Alsatian speaker in France will be treated differently from French speakers. The third is volunteer language shift. Linguistic suicide occurs when an older generation of speakers dominant in a minority language deliberately chooses as the language of child reading. For example, Teutonic speakers intentionally did not teach Teutonese to their children. What are the factors of language shift? The first factor is economic, second is political, the third is demographic. Demographic factors like language shift is faster in urban than rural ones. Intermarriage between groups can accelerate language shift. And the fourth factor, that is institutional support and status. And the fifth is attitude and values. Language shift is slower among communities where the minority language is highly valued. Therefore, when the language is seen as an important symbol of ethnic identity, it is generally maintained longer, and vice versa. Pressure of institutional endowments are such as like schools and media. The dominant language is associated with social status and prestige, and the sight of groups is sometimes a critical factor, and the size of the group is sometimes a critical factor. Bilingualism, migration is also the main factor of language shift. Suppose you just leave your place and you migrate somewhere, so that can be also the factor of language shift. And the second law, that is industrialization, urbanization. So I hope this video has been helpful for you. If this video has sparked your interest, I suggest you to like, share, comment. See you in the next video. Take care of yourself.